All right, guys. Anybody? All right, thank you.
Joe Ostman looks like he's getting the quarterback a little bit, getting through some blocks.
Yeah, I mean, let's until you can actually get the quarterback, I mean, but he's doing a good job rushing. And I think the other thing, I don't want to speak for FIP, but he's really working hard on special teams too, which is what a lot of young players need to do. But there's big difference between looking good rushing in practice and then be able to finish them in games. And we have confidence that when we do get live to the quarterback in our preseason games, that we'll see the same things from Joe.
Do you want to see him, get more reps or get some kind of reps against first-team guys like Wayne?
I mean, we work a lot of different groups in a lot of different ways. You see, like a lot of times we don't match against the offense because everybody has different injury situations, different rotations. So he'll get plenty of opportunities that way over the course of camp.
Saw a little bit of him as a joker. What kind of physical traits or abilities does he have to kind of play that spot?
Yeah, he's slippery, and he's got a little bit of hybrid skills. We're just trying to move him around a little bit and see if we can carve out a role for him.
Jim, being around Rasul and the OTAs, mini camps, and even now, he looks bigger. Have you seen that translate into better production? And as you look at where he best fits, whether it's safety corner, do you have an opinion on that at this moment?
Yeah, all our guys need to be multidimensional. He's not going to take any safety reps in training camp, and he only did last year because it was all hands on deck emergency type situation where he had to go in and play safety. He has played a little bit of nickel, which is something he hasn't done in the past, but our nickels, when Craig got hurt, our nickel numbers went down and he stepped in, and the more stuff like that you can do, I think it just helps your total understanding of the defense. I don't know if he's any bigger right now, but he's well conditioned. He's playing with confidence, and I think that you see that from guys that are in their third year and have a little bit of experience, and that's him.
What's the next step for Kamu?
I don't know. I mean, everybody has just different things they're working on, different things they're trying to keep polished, and different things they're trying to fill. But I think Kamu, over the course of the last 2 years, has become better versus blockers. He's become more of a physical presence inside. I mean, everybody knows the athletic ability that he had, but he was always sort of considered a hybrid player or a light player. I think he's taken a big step to being a full-time linebacker. And when I say full-time, I don't mean being on the field all the time, but I mean can play inside, can play outside, can take on a guard, can step up and fill a run play, all those kind of things. And his understanding of defense is really good too. I mean, that's one of the things about having continuity and him going into even though it's his fourth year, it's only his third training camp. Just the accumulation of reps helps him.
Is Tim going to get back to where he was prior to his injury?
Well, I'd take the injury part out of it because that's not my expertise. I just know what he does on the field, and he looks as good, if not better, than I've seen him. He's another guy that he came to us a couple years ago. He'd never played our style of defense, meaning attack up front. He had been a reader and playing at the line. And it takes a little while to get guys into that, but he's been very disruptive, more so than I ever remember him in training camp. And he's also been active in pass rush. He's been winning a lot of one-on-ones in our pass rush stuff. So I like where he is. Everything else, I can't say whether he's back or not.
Jim, this is the first time that Fletch has been shut down with a significant injury and is rehabbing his way back. How's he handling that as far as watching from the sidelines?
Yeah, you guys see him. I mean, you guys probably hear him more than any other player because he's in the practice. And we ask all our guys that are doing that, whether it's Darby, Rodney, Jalen Mills, Fletch, all those guys that are working their way back to stay connected to the team. Some of our best players, Nigel does a great job of it, Rodney does a great job. They're always talking to the other players, and they're also sort of keeping that energy up during practice. And they're getting their rehab time in, they're not missing that, but they're also staying active with our other guys, and I think that's important, particularly a guy like Fletch that's one of the leaders of our team, and it's important that he stays in that role.
How encouraged were you from what you saw from that first live session? Well, for both of them.
I don't know. We're just trying. I'm happy to see everybody walk off the field. I'm sure when we watch film, there'll be things that you like. Things you don't like. It's just every other practice.
How would you, for Rasul Douglas from last year this time, what kind of steps has he made? He didn't even have a role in the defense when we started the season last year.
No, he did. He had a role. It wasn't a role for you guys, but it was a role. In the opener, he intercepted a pass. When Darby went out, he stepped right in. And, a backup role was still a role. And you got to be there. They went right at him. He intercepted a pass. So, if you're on the 53, you got to roll. If you're on the 46, you got to roll. 53, you might not be active that game, but there's a role for you on the team. By definition. I really think the biggest thing is just he's got some confidence. Played a little bit his rookie year. We won a lot of games with him out there his rookie year. Came back second year. Had a rough spot early on when he was playing, and then came back and really solidified and did a great job for us down the stretch, as did a lot of our other guys. And, when you build that, you're talking about Kamu, building experience in the defense and things like it, just let you play a little bit faster, play a little bit more confidence. He plays the deep ball. You're seeing all those things.
What do you see Zach Brown's role currently right now?
Yeah, it's training camp. That's what his role is. Do whatever it takes in training camp, whether it's outside linebacker, inside linebacker, Mike. All our guys play multi-dimensional and just work hard within the defense. Our roles and depth chart will be determined by what happens in training camp at the end, not what somebody does on an individual basis or anything else. Do we have a depth chart? If we have a depth chart, Stroh made it because the league makes them have to or whatever. Because we have different groups that we run, and you'll see different guys out in there in those groups. Because facts of life, all those guys, if you're on the 53, you're going to have to play. If you're on the practice squad, you're probably going to have to play over the course of the year. So all those guys need to be able to cycle through, and Zach's in that same boat.
You called that a 60 on that third loan that got you there. But during the seasons, generally, that's been a successful type of scheme for you. Why do you like that in those situations?
I think it fits us. There's one thing about me, we really don't care about how many yards we give up. It's about getting off the field on third down and keeping points down. And whether you're giving up 10 yards on the third down and long play or, playing good red zone defense, it's all just part of the same. Thing.
Jim, what's jumping out about Sidney Jones?
Made a couple plays on the ball, and I think that's a big thing. He's also been available for us. He's been out there every day. In the first year of his career, he wasn't, but last year he was in and out of the lineup so much in training camp. It was really hard for him to get that good run of experience and build that accumulation of steps. And even though he didn't take any reps his first training camp, he did a lot of watching, did a lot of learning. So you're talking about another guy that's third year in the system, and gaining confidence in the system, gaining experience in the system. Another guy that, played some nickel last year, played some outside last year. Just think when you see guys that are in that boat, Kamu and Rasul and Sid and stuff like that, you're seeing the accumulation of their experience and the payoff of all the reps that they've taken, and some of the learning on the job prices that they've had to pay. Some of it has been expensive startup costs with those guys, but eventually you get the payoff, and I think you're starting to see that from guys like Sid.
Is physicality always going to be a little bit of an issue for him? He just doesn't have that build.
No, he made a play against Colts last year. It was one of the freakiest plays I've seen. It was a great play. He's on the thinner side, but I don't think it has anything to do with the guy's ability to play physical.
Jim, let's get back to Zach Brown for a second. Has he picked things up as well as you wanted him to? And
yeah.
Where do you think he does fit if he's going to play?
Right, he's a really instinctive player. We saw that in the spring when he dropped right off onto the practice field and really didn't know any of our terminology, but was able to go out and execute just because he's savvy and sort of had been around a bunch and stuff like that. Really instinctive. He's multidimensional. He's a heavy blitzer. He's good in the box. He's got really good speed on the outside of the box, and if he can keep showing those things for us, he'll have a role. But the role for all those guys will be determined as we go through training camp. It's not going to be earned yesterday or today or next week. I mean, we got a lot of ground to cover before the opener.
All right, thanks, guys.